Hey everybody, welcome to another player interview episode. This one's we had Dixon Jowers here in the house, but we have Zach Newhouse, who is part of Team Dynamic Discs, and he came to for a visit all the way from Calgary, Canada. He's here to visit for a little bit, and then he'll be gone, and then come back again to get ready for Glass Bun Open. But we're doing another team interview. But before we get into the interview, I want to remind everybody, make sure you go out to dynamicdisc.com and go to the Disc Golf Answer Man section. We have, if you want to get the Disc Golf Answer Man stamp or the logo, not stamp, but on a Dymax, you can have the logo put on there. We still have those available. We have a few left of hot stamp. I know I keep saying this, but it's GBO time, so I'm kind of behind on stuff, but we're going to get some more hot stamped Disc Golf Answer Man stuff for you. We also, of course, we still have, I'm pretty sure, quite a few left of the Disc Golf Answer Man t-shirts. So if you guys want to support us and show your love for the Disc Golf Answer Man show, make sure you get those ordered and we'll send that out too. Really appreciate you guys. That means the world to me when I see people posting pictures of them wearing the Disc Golf Answer Man shirts. It's kind of a cool thing. Zach Newhouse, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, Bobby.
So you got here a couple days ago, Wednesday night. Tuesday night. Okay.
Yeah.
But you got here, been doing some playing around town. I'm sure playing some disc golf with Robert. Did you play with Robert?
No, they were heading out.
They were heading out already to the Vintage Open?
Yep, Arkansas.
Playing with Eric McCabe, I'm sure. You played. Yep. You had tags that last night?
Yep.
So you got to play some tags. So he's already here in Emporia getting has some decent weather, got some disc golf in, so that's good. But let's have people get to know you a little bit better, Zach. We went live on our YouTube and Facebook Answer Man page, but let's do it again. Let's get to know Zach a little bit more, because I'm sure we have some listeners that don't quite catch up with all the live stuff. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was born and raised in Wisconsin. I started playing disc golf in about 2004. I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina in 2006, and that's when I sort of got into competitive disc golf.
Okay.
And turned pro in 2008, and then recently moved to Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I guess it's been 3 years. It seems like yesterday.
I know.
But I have been trying to, continue playing there and maintaining a full-time job with disc golf as my hobby.
So what made you say you turned pro? What was kind of the catalyst behind that decision?
I had been playing advanced for a couple of years and went and played Am Worlds in 2007. I took somewhere in like the 20s, so did pretty well, and had planned on playing another year of amateur disc golf and was planning to play 2008 Am Worlds, but wanted to kind of elevate the competition. So I played in my first pro event shortly after Am Worlds and actually took second place. And at that time, the rules were you could either just not accept cash and just get nothing and just the experience of playing pro, or you accept cash and then you're a pro.
Right.
So there was no like taking merch or anything like that as an alternate way of doing it. And I thought, you know what? I was kind of planning on playing pro after 2008 Am Worlds. I realized that, I can be competitive, now already a year earlier. So I just kind of decided to make the jump and, hope that all worked out.
Do you remember what it felt like playing the next event? Like not necessarily like a huge event, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your next event playing in the pro, how'd that feel?
I think it was definitely a little bit more nerve wracking because that first one I had, zero expectations whatsoever. And so then I thought, okay, if I am going to play pro, kind of take it, just that much more seriously. So I'm sure there were definitely a bit more nervousness going in, but the competition in the state of North Carolina, both at the advanced level and the pro level is very difficult. So I just kind of, had an open mind in a sense and knew that I had beaten some good players at the advanced level. That eventually if I kept working, I'd be able to do the same at the professional level.
So 2008, then 2009, how many, let's see, I'm looking at your PDJ page.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the people we've talked in the past, the players, it seems like they went pro and then they're like, I'm going to do this. And they play like 17 events a year, 20 events a year. But, you're getting in like 6, 7, 8 events per year. So the story that's telling me is that, even though you wanted to compete at a higher level. It wasn't really something that you wanted to become like a big time disc golfer. Is that fair to say? Or?
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I mean, I've, had a full-time job and have been sort of advancing in my professional work career as, a much bigger priority to me than disc golf.
Yeah.
But being a former athlete and competitive person by nature, disc golf was just sort of that outlet that still allowed me to do that, but something that was, you can go out, casually, or I can go out by myself with my dog and, do it whenever, wherever.
You said being an athlete, what did you play before?
Growing up, I played basically all sports. My dad ran the YMCA in our local town, so we played anything and everything under the sun.
Yeah.
And then I went to college and played tennis, as well as club volleyball.
Do you think any of the techniques or whatever you played in tennis helps with disc golf at all? Or
I think a lot of it is just like the movements and like your hips and your core strength. From that definitely translate over. With tennis, I guess on a backhand is somewhat similar to a backhand drive.
Yeah.
As a right-hander, so it definitely probably had a bit of an overlap.
Yeah. So had you ever had the thought ever come to your mind that you would do less career and more disc golf? Did that ever be, ever have the aspirations to be like a touring disc golfer or anything?
I'm sure there were days where I said, oh man, that would be so much fun. Or after you come back from a big tournament and do well, it's, maybe I'd want to do this, more full time. And, I'm at the point now where I'm well into my career that's not really an option anymore, but I'm sure at one time, it definitely crosses your mind. And I mean, I hope the sport gets to the point where more people can actually do that and sustainably stay on the road. But I know it's definitely difficult, and even 10 years ago it wasn't much of an option for anybody. That now it's nice to see at least a couple people are able to do it.
I lost my train of thought. So, what do you do as a career?
Yeah. So I'm a sales manager for Timberland Footwear.
Okay.
And so I currently manage national accounts in Western Canada.
Does disc golf ever come up when you talk to people? I mean, I know that Timberland's a large company, so it's not like where you have a lot of here we bump into everybody, but there I'm sure you don't bump into a lot of the bigger, more influential people. But
not as often. I mean, every once in a while, I have one of my accounts is probably the premier sporting goods retailer in Canada.
Yeah,
and I think at one point they may have had some Frisbee stuff in their stores.
Yeah.
So it's casually come up in conversation just through, hey, I saw you had this in your store, and talk about it a bit. But being in kind of footwear apparel side of things, it's generally a whole separate department or structure within the bigger organizations.
So Timberland makes shoes.
Yes.
So you deal with a lot of shoes.
Yeah.
And this question came up on our live broadcast, but I want to talk about it here because it is definitely something that comes up a lot. What runs through your mind being somebody that works with shoes? Because I remember we were at the Outdoor Retailer Show about 3 years ago, and Timberland had this just way decked out display with shoes everywhere and stuff. People always want to know. I want to know the best disc golf shoes. Or I see people get, they spend $100, $80, whatever on a shoe. 3 months down the road, they're tore up from playing disc golf.
Yeah.
Give us your overall thoughts on shoes and disc golf.
Yeah, the hard part is shoes are generally made to flex essentially forwards and backwards and not twist side to side, which is the primary motion playing disc golf.
Neither is our knees.
Yeah, exactly. So unfortunately, the wear and tear and just sort of the movements made in disc golf don't generally attribute to the construction of a shoe. So when people ask that question, a lot of it is just there's a lot of companies that make great, capable hiking boots, outdoor type shoes for trail running, etc. That if they're from the kind of the main reputable companies, the quality shouldn't differ a whole lot in terms of general durability and construction of a shoe. It just all comes back to what you use it for and how you use it. And no shoe is meant for disc golf.
Right.
There's just a lot of shoes that you can play disc golf in.
Yeah. So you said you're right now you're living in Canada. Lived there for about 3 years.
Yeah.
Before that was Wisconsin.
North Carolina.
I'm sorry. Does North Carolina didn't get a lot of snow and stuff, right?
No, not a lot.
And so Calgary get a lot of snow?
Oh, yeah.
So how was that as from the disc golf area of things? How was that going from a place that gets a lot of snow to a place that didn't?
Yeah, it was really tough. I mean, I grew up in snow in Wisconsin, so I knew what to expect out of winter, but definitely being spoiled in North Carolina, getting to play pretty much year round.
Yeah.
It was a challenge, and I'll be the first to admit I'm a bit of a fair weather disc golfer.
Oh,
once the temperature gets to a certain level, there's a good chance I'm not out there. And once the snow accumulates to a certain amount, I'm also not going to be out there.
And hey, you listeners out there, you balling us out because of that, I don't care.
Yeah.
If it's too cold for me, I am not going out to play.
There are a lot of things that you can do that aren't disc golf in snow and cold weather that are a lot more enjoyable.
Right.
I'll stick to those. When it's nice enough to play disc golf, I'll play disc golf.
Yeah. So in the area that you're at, is there some, I'm assuming there's some disc golf clubs or some kind of organized disc golf thing going on where you're at? Yeah,
the Calgary Disc Golf Club. We have probably around 100, 150 members or so.
Good, yeah.
So we've got a fairly decent scene. We have 3 18-hole courses and 2 9-hole courses, which is good enough for the amount of people that we have that play.
Yeah.
We just added a more of a championship level course 2 years ago, which has been nice because the rest of our courses are much more in the beginner friendly level of play. So it was a bit challenging coming from a place like Charlotte that has 14 championship level courses to, when I first moved there, none really at all. But we're growing. We're adding another course that was in construction this past year that will open up this summer, which will be nice, and always looking to add more. The club is pretty active in trying to get more courses in Calgary. It's very much an outdoor city.
Yeah.
So I think the appreciation of it is there. It's just finding the space and availability of the city to allow us to get in there.
Do you how many months out of the year do you really get to play?
Fortunately the last 2 winters have been fairly mild, so I probably played 8 or 9 months.
Okay, that's not
this
bad.
Unfortunately was one of our roughest winters in a long time, so we've been pretty much buried under snow since November.
Yeah.
And I got a text message this morning from my buddies that say no snowing in Calgary this morning. So I don't think I'm going to be playing too much disc golf back home for probably at least another few weeks.
So I know you said that you're at a time where you're more career and disc golf is a hobby, but you're at the pro level. So when you play in an event, you obviously want to do well.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get around not being able to play as often, with the weather needing to be good and the combination of having the time with a full-time career?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is that I have learned to, I guess, temper expectations.
Okay.
I go and realize that, hey, I play once or twice a week if I'm lucky. And a lot of the guys that I'm playing with, are doing this for a living or, are playing all year round most days of the week. And just realize that if I play well, I'm capable of doing well. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I know that I don't have to rely on it. And so I can go out and have fun. And that's actually usually when I play the best. So
yeah. I'm looking at your Dynamic Discs disc golf team page.
Mm-hmm.
And most of your drivers are your overstable high speed drivers. You got the Sheriff, the Enforcer, and the Defender and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit why those are or which one is really more your goat that you find yourself grabbing for the most?
Yeah, my go-to driver is actually probably the Trespass.
Okay.
I find it to be one of the most controllable distance drivers out there. And I do carry quite a bit of, overstable stuff in a sense because I have a pretty balanced game in terms of forehand and backhand.
Mm-hmm.
That, the Trespass for me goes relatively straight. The rest of the disc can be overstable because I can work them right to left or left to right depending on the necessary shot and just do it whether it's a backhand or a forehand.
Now, according to the page, now I know the page was probably made a while back, so there might be a few changes, but you've got a mix of Lucid and Fusion. Is there, I know, like Eric really likes the Lucid for the grip, but then in my mind, I like the Fusion for the grip. Yeah. Where are you at on that?
I generally lean towards Lucid plastic.
Okay.
There are a couple molds that just feel better in my hand in the Fusion type plastic. I play a lot more based on feel.
Okay.
More than anything else. So when I grab a disc, you can usually tell right away, if I prefer one or the other in terms of the plastic type.
Gotcha. Moving down to the mids, you've got your Justice. Of course, I think just about everybody has got one in there as a utility disc, but you've got the Verdict. It says Truth, but I'm imagining it's probably more EMAC Truth now.
Now it has become, yeah.
So maybe this is before we really got the EMACs and the Warrant, the Warden, or no, that's your putter. So mids, I got is Warden, EMAC Truth, Verdict, and Justice. Anything missing that we don't have on here? That's
no, that's pretty much it. I kind of have sort of one disc for each sort of slot and stability. That the Warrant is understable, the Truth is straight, and the Verdict is overstable.
So not many different molds. Do you have different stages of beat in for these, or is it really just you got one EMAC in there, one Warrant in there?
For the most part, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I used to, again, I kind of reference between living in North Carolina and living in Calgary.
Yeah.
In North Carolina, it's very wooded, and you can beat up discs relatively fast.
Yeah.
So I used to rely more on, I'm going to carry the Enforcer, for instance, and have like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
Because you can beat them in and have different stages of wear. In Calgary, we're much more open, more kind of park golf, and not playing a lot makes me sort of have to rely on different molds.
Yeah.
To give the different stabilities. But at the same time, I also like to keep my bag fairly simple. I don't like to have 20 different discs in my bag. So the fewer discs I can have, but all that do a little bit something different is generally how I...
that's just me too, is that I don't get to play often enough that I don't have different wear, stages of wear. It's either a bag I have in my bag because I have it, or I don't have it anymore because I threw it in the pond or something.
Right.
So, so moving down to the putters, I see the Warden is, you've got the Lucid and the classic Warden, and then the Suspect.
Yeah.
you still have the Warden as your putter, right?
Been putting with the Warden.
Yeah.
I've been a little bit on and off with that and the Marshall.
Okay.
To me, they fly fairly similar. The Warden has a little bit more glide and the Marshall has a little bit more stability. So kind of a preference on the feel or the conditions of the day. I'll kind of switch back and forth between the two of them. And then I've actually started, since the Marshall got made in Lucid plastic as a fundraiser for Junior Worlds, I've used that as my kind of primary throwing putter now, as opposed to the Warden.
Gotcha. I do have some pictures of you from past GBO quite a few years ago where you had the Cenas.
Yep.
Is that still in your bag? I don't see it here.
It is not.
Okay.
Nope. That was one of those where I kind of had it in my bag specifically for GBO, knowing it was going to be windy and expectations of poor weather conditions. So it was a soft Cenas that was kind of a backup in terms of, hey, I'm probably going to need this at some point, so I should probably just keep it in the bag in case it's necessary.
Do you find yourself taking things in and out of your bag quite a bit, depending on the course you're playing?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I probably have my core 10 to 12 discs that always stay in there. Mm. And then, every once in a while, a lot of it for me is testing new discs. Mm. I'll keep my regular discs in there and then put in the one or two new ones that I want to kind of test out and compare. But beyond that, not a whole lot of change.
Gotcha. So let's kind of get into the mindset of Zach when he's on the course. Let's paint the scenario. We're at a tournament. It's round one, day one. Everything just 1-1. You're just starting out, and you step up to the tee pad. How do you attack a hole? What are you looking at? What are you thinking? How are you making your decision on which disc to grab?
If it's the first hole, I usually close my eyes and pray. But in all seriousness, it's sort of identify the wind conditions first and foremost. Yeah. And then just sort of pick out what is, I guess, the safest or for me, I play fairly conservative. I don't have a huge arm. But because I can throw forehand and backhand, it gives me a lot of options. So I generally kind of pick out what the best or safest line is to get to the basket and try to use as much open air as I can.
And then, moving up to the upshot or, your fairway shot, what's going on there? What are you trying to judge there? I guess it really depends. I mean, as I'm thinking, it kind of depends on the shot.
Yeah.
But, what's kind of your objective as you're moving from the tee pad to the basket?
The closer I get to the hole, the suspect is probably, if anything, my go-to money maker of a disc.
Yeah.
So I usually reach for that first, and if I can use that, I'm going to use it. And then if I'm too far away or if there's too much, of an angle that needs to be thrown, then I'll kind of adjust my disc accordingly. But I usually pick that first, and if I can use it, I'll use it, and if not, then I kind of go from there and kind of work backwards.
How, we have molds coming out. Of course, we have the 3 companies, so we have a lot of molds that come out every year. Last year, I think we had 11 different molds come out.
Yeah.
What's it take for a disc to get in your bag? Does it have to replace? I mean, how loyal, I guess, are you, or are you, how set in your ways are you with the mold you have?
I'm pretty set because I feel like I've now gotten to the point where the discs I have cover all the shots that I would need on a disc golf course. Really, to add anything new, it would have to be something that just, I guess, did the job better than another disc and essentially replace it or kick it out of my bag, as opposed to adding more discs into my bag.
Yeah, I'd have to say, like, the Sheriff is probably the newest or most recent mold that we've come out with. And you still throw the Sheriff?
I've been now working with the Captain,
Okay.
As the Sheriff for me was essentially a maximum distance driver that I didn't throw that often. But if it was a tailwind or enough space that you could kind of work the disc for kind of that full maximum distance flight, I would use it. And I've found that the Captain now kind of fits into a similar.
Did the Sheriff
space.
replace anything?
The Sheriff,
Do you remember?
it may have been like the Ballista.
Okay.
And I've actually I had gone back and forth between the Ballista and the Sheriff for a long time. But again, it's a disc that I probably use maybe once or twice around.
Yeah.
So it's not something that's super important to my game, where that's the type of discs that I will try new ones or test out different discs. But those are only kind of a few spots in the bag that.
So you're saying the Captain might replace the Sheriff, or just okay? So might replace it.
Yep.
Gotcha. Very cool. So GBO last year, you placed 7th, which is Glassboro. That's a good. It's a lot of the big guns, top guys come to Glassboro Open, so that's obviously an impressive finish. Especially learning someone that doesn't really tour. You're not touring. You're not out there competing in these big events all the time. What was that like? Because I remember the excitement when everybody said, made the revelation that Zach's going to be on the lead card in round 2. And of course I'm cheering everybody on our team on. Yeah. Everybody across the company. I'm cheering. Then of course any of my favorites, people that I know. But to see you on the lead card was a different type of, wow, that's really cool for Zach. What's that like? What's going on through your mind?
Man, it's so much fun. It's neat to get the love and support, especially at a tournament in Emporia. Where a sponsor is, and have so many friends here, and just getting messages from people back home, and our where my parents live in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. They have a pretty big tournament every year, basically the same weekend as GBO. And so my brother and a bunch of friends from back home were all going to practice that weekend on Friday for the tournament on the weekend. And I get a message saying, hey, great job, but now we're not going to be able to practice today because we're all going to go to your parents' house and watch live coverage.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's really neat to just kind of hear that and get that, especially when, I'm not coming and expecting to be in that position. Yeah. Unfortunately, I feel like there's something about Emporia because of the 5 times I've come to the Glassboro Open. I've been on the lead card in 3 of the tournaments at some point.
I didn't realize
during
the
event.
Yeah.
So yeah, is
7th the best finish you've had?
7th is the best finish.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you've got your family cheering you on at home. You've got, like you said, people texting you. Do you remember who was on your card with you?
It was Nate Sexton, Paul Macbeth, and Johnny McRae.
So some well-known guys that usually are in the mix at the top.
Yep.
What is that part of your thinking, or are you able to kind of dismiss that and just say I'm going to play my game?
I mean, I think initially before you kind of step up to the first hole, that is kind of going through your mind of this is the situation, these are the people you're playing with. But essentially, as soon as you throw that first tee shot, you just fall into, hey, I'm playing disc golf. Do the same thing that you do, every day that you're out here, and let that sort of take over instead of getting, kind of wrapped up in the moment. Yeah.
So then, the 7th place finish, obviously a strong, good finish in that field of players. Do you remember were you disappointed in your play? Because I mean, obviously you're a competitor.
Yeah.
You want to compete to be number 1, but did you look at yourself? I know this is probably going to be on another level. This is going to sound bad, but did you walk up thinking I'm going to win this? Or did you just think I'm just going to do the best I can? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
No, that's a really good question. I think as a competitor, the desire to win is there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wasn't expecting to win.
Okay.
You know, I hoped I would play well, and I thought, hey, if I play well enough, there's a chance that I could win.
Yeah.
And I guess the only disappointment was during that round, I had just 2 holes that I did not play well. I made 2 really bad mistakes during that round. And if I took those 2 mistakes out, I think I would have likely finished in like 3rd.
Really? What were they like?
On hole 9, my approach shot, I threw out of bounds. And then I ended up missing a putt on top of that. Like I compounded it. And it was just the wrong disc choice. I just picked the wrong disc. And then I threw it in the water on 11.
11.
Or I hit
what course was
the
that?
tree. Jones East.
Okay, Jones East.
Sorry.
Okay.
I hit the Mando tree and went in the water.
Gotcha.
And that was just purely, I just pulled it.
Yeah.
I made a bad mistake and not a hole that you can afford to do that. So
what's your practice or what's your habit when you're, you know, you're in the moment and you just hole 9, you said was the first one that you had a bad, you picked the wrong disc or it just went OB. How do you pick yourself up? How do you tell yourself, you know, how do you continue after that?
Yeah, it's really tough. I think the biggest thing was just, you know, realizing like, hey, I made a mistake. I took the wrong disc or I made the wrong shot, and just say, hey, you know what? You can redeem yourself on the next shot. Just go up and you know, do what you know you're capable of doing. And I missed the next shot after. I missed the next putt after that. And then I thought, oh goodness, like I just made 2 mistakes back to back. Like this isn't good. But ultimately you finish the hole, or you just kind of get on to the next shot and say, you know what, we're going to start over like it's hole 1, even though it's hole 10 or whatever hole you're on.
Yeah.
And just kind of hit the refresh button and start over.
What's something that, you know, you've been playing since, what was it? 2006, right? No, 8.
Yeah.
Yes,
Competitively. Yeah.
What's something that you know now that you wish you could go back and tell Zach in 2008 about your disc golf game?
To not take yourself too seriously.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the biggest thing. Especially, you know, so many people come from a competitive or athletic background. That it's very easy to get wrapped up in wanting to be the best and analyze everything, and, you know, every round just want to improve.
Yeah.
And there are times to do that for sure. But there's also just the enjoyment of, hey, we're playing a game. We're having fun. There's no reason to get too worked up about, you know, anything that happens while you're playing disc golf.
Yeah.
You know, life outside of disc golf is much bigger than the life on the disc golf course. And
when you're out practicing or, you know, playing your casual round, what's an aspect of your disc golf game that you know you need to practice, but you just don't like doing?
Probably shots from like 150 to 200 feet.
Yeah. Why are those important?
You can just save so many strokes.
Yeah.
It's something that should be pretty routine.
Yeah.
And should be easy. And it's very easy to take it for granted or get lazy and not execute it. And then at the end of the round, you know, you lose by 1 or 2 strokes and you look back and go, those were 2 of the easiest strokes that I had all day.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't take the time or didn't execute it properly when it's so simple.
Yeah. So is there something that we do? Is there a routine or anything you do to make yourself practice that particular type shot?
I think now it's just when I do have that shot when we're out playing, to not take it for granted, not just walk up and be like, oh, this is a casual round. I'm just going to walk up, throw whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And actually sit there and focus and be like, hey, I need to put this, you know, within 10 feet of the basket.
Yeah, I get that. Let's see. Now, I noticed you don't have, I mean, like you said, this is just a hobby for you. This isn't a professional thing. But do you have anywhere you want people to follow you? Maybe you don't want people to follow you. Maybe you want people to just leave you alone. I mean, it's kind of, I know this sounds kind of weird because, a lot of people say Dynamic Disc is one of the big social media people out there, but, this is just a hobby for you. So maybe it isn't really something that you really, I don't really care if you know what I'm doing in disc golf.
Yeah, no, I mean, if anybody wants to follow me, I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
I believe it's Zach_Newhouse or something.
With a K, right?
Nope, with an H.
With an H, okay.
Yeah. It's something like that. It's pretty easy to follow me that way. If you like seeing pictures of dogs, nature, in the wintertime skiing, those are the pictures.
That's not it. Zach_Newhouse says not available.
Maybe Z_Newhouse.
Z. So apparently you're very active on there.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, it's
something. We'll
figure it out.
I'll figure it out and put it. Yeah. Maybe I can just search by name here.
Yeah. Search Zach Newhouse because I'm pretty sure.
Zach Newhouse 21.
No, there's no numbers.
No. All right, we'll figure it out. Yeah. We'll put it in the note. We'll put it in the description.
Yeah, we'll find it and figure it out. But yeah, basically, I'll post, usually like at the end of a tournament or something as just sort of a recap or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, the majority of what you're going to see on my social media usually is related to spending time with my dog. Or
what kind of dog you got?
He's a pug cattle dog mix.
Wait.
Yeah. So he looks like a cattle dog, but he has a curly tail and short ears and an underbite.
And that's the pug, I guess?
That's the pug part of him.
I've never heard of that mix in my life.
He's a pretty goofy looking dude, yeah. Or that's
to have the bug eyes of a pug?
A little bit.
Okay.
They don't stick out quite like it because he actually has a bit of a snout.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can.
Okay, yeah, we got to figure out your Instagram because I want to see what this dog looks like.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So that's what they think he is, at least. He's a rescue dog. So if anybody's looking for a dog, I'd advocate rescuing a dog.
Yeah. Okay, so the last question I typically ask, actually, I take it back, put it in your court. Oh. What's a question that you'd like to ask our listeners? Something you'd like them to think about?
What do they like to think? Jeez. I don't know. I guess it's always just what is something that inspires you outside of disc golf?
That's a good one.
That would be my question for the followers.
Inspires you outside of disc golf. I did forget a question that I ask everybody that I'll ask you real quick, and that'll be the last one.
Okay.
What is something that you are obsessed with that's not disc golf related? And I mean like obsessed, like right now I'm obsessed with this is just to give you an example. So I'm trying to be careful what I eat. I'm trying to calm down. I'm trying to be better at what I eat. We've been doing a lot of traveling.
Yep.
And when we do a lot of traveling, it's hard. And our listeners know I threw down some Torchy's tacos. So
yes,
I'm trying to watch what I eat. One of the new things that I like to snack on is these little Sargento breaks. And they have cheese and nuts and craisins in them.
Yep.
So I'm not like, I don't eat all the just that, but it's like, it's a thing that kind of helps me snack on something that isn't too heavy.
Yeah.
So something like that. What's something that you're kind of obsessed with right now?
I guess it would be like, I'm always been kind of into fitness and being active and everything like that. The newest thing for me recently has been squash.
Really?
It's the game of squash.
Now that's the one with the rubbery ball?
It's like racquetball.
But with your hand?
No.
No?
With the racket, a different shaped racket.
So why can I not think of that?
A smaller ball.
Yeah.
Like it's not very popular in the U.S. besides, I want to say like New England, Northeast area. And I grew up, like I said, like in the YMCA with my dad where racquetball was really popular.
Right.
So when I moved up to Canada, I still play competitive tennis. And some of people I ran into said that they played squash. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like I've seen and heard of it, but have never really played it at all. I was like, it's a racket sport. It's good, being active and whatever. And so I was like, sure, I'll try it. Man, is it a lot of fun. It is a ton of fun. So
like somebody who's never heard of squash, tell us the basics.
So basically it's like two people in a box.
Right.
With the front wall essentially being kind of the net in a sense. And you have to essentially get the ball to bounce twice off the wall before your opponent can hit it.
Okay.
Again. So it's a pretty like simple in terms of the actual
but I imagine
rules of the game.
If it's anything like racquetball, you are running
but the
all
strategy,
over the place.
Yeah, the strategy and the movement is like really intense and fun. So that'd be probably my newest obsession.
Your newest obsession?
Yeah.
Any kind of leagues or anything that you can play in?
You can play in some leagues and some kind of just like local kind of meetup sort of things. And then I actually did play my first tournament probably about a month ago.
And how'd you do?
So I won what would be kind of the equivalent of like the recreational division. Because squash.
You're going to move up? Bagger.
I know. Total bagger. I felt like it because when I told people like I just started playing and they kind of looked at me like, you're a liar. Don't tell me you just started playing. And I explained to them like, hey, I'm a tennis player. Like it just kind of, most of it translates a bit and stuff. So I probably plan on at least trying to advance a little bit in it just to see what it is. But I've played against some guys that are very good and they are very good.
Yeah.
Like, it's like growing up when you see like, when I first started to see like Ken Kimo playing disc golf.
Really?
And it's like, oh my gosh,
how do you do that? That's
incredible.
How do you do that with a little squash
and
ball?
you watch the actual professionals play squash and I can't believe that that's a thing.
Every sport, I'm sure, has that. Has those super professionals that just blow you away.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, thanks again, Zach. First, I know you're here visiting friends and stuff, and I know you're going away, coming back, but thanks for taking a few minutes to sit down with us so we can learn a little bit more about you. I think it's interesting to learn more about people that have disc golf is at a different level in their life. We have, our touring professionals where it is their life. Then we have the people that aspire to it. And then we have like you, where it's just a nice hobby. You like to do well in it, but it's not anything that really is a driving force to a lot of what you do. So thank you for that insight into how disc golf is involved in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Thanks. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Know that, let's see, we recorded this on April 12th, but you're going to hear it next week. So I'm not sure what day. I haven't planned that out, but know that the Disc Golf Answer Man schedule is going to be kind of off a little bit because of Glass Blown Open. A lot's going to be happening, so we're just not going to have the time available to sit down and record an episode. I don't know. Maybe I'll carry around my field recorder and try to interview some people that are walking around Glass Blown Open. We'll have to see how that goes. But for sure, you will catch back up, I'm pretty sure, on a regular schedule the week after Glass Blown Open. Make sure you are following us, Dynamic Disc Facebook page, but also include the Glass Blown Open Facebook page. Follow us on Instagram, but include GBO_live. That's going to be the GBO, that's more non-dynamic disc stuff, that's more GBO type stuff, as well as download the Glass Blown Open mobile app. Just go to your app store, look for 2018 Glass Blown Open, download that. You can kind of be involved in some of the fun there as well. Cool. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.